Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today's video is a video that was requested on how to change the steering knuckles and the rear uprights. More the steering knuckles if I remember right, but I'm going to show you exactly how you do that. So we're going to start with the steering knuckles first. So you're going to want to get out your wrench that came with your Litehawk Blast. This exact same process, by the way, will also be the same on the Litehawk Brute, as well as the WL Toys L959 and L969. So first get your wheel off. Then you're going to want to remove your steering link, but take a look at where your steering link screws into, because there are two setting points here. So you're going to want the one where the screw is right now, so furthest towards the front of the vehicle is where it's going to have to go back into. Take that off. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is take out this front screw up top here, just until it's free. You can actually leave the screw in the top arm. And then your bottom screw, it'll unscrew to a certain point, and that's it. And then you just pull it out, and then you can pull off your steering knuckle. So to get it all back together, and remember the position that the steering knuckle was in. In this case, it's on the lower end, so on the very bottom. And you can adjust these heights depending on how you're going to play with your suspension and that sort of thing. So if you're going to do some tuning, then you're going to want to play with these outside ones. You've also got your suspension can be moved to the inside more. Your front of your arm here against the body frame is non-adjustable, but your spring is adjustable, as well as your knuckle is also adjustable for height. So then you want to screw this back in first, and you only do this until it stops, because you don't want to over squish this. It has movement, we're all good, everything lined up nice. So we'll put this screw back in, and remember where it goes. It's going to go on towards the closest towards the car. So that's going to be this one right here. And again, you can play with these positionings. This keeps things relatively even, but you can pitch your tires up more, okay, or bring the toe out if you wanted to. Especially if you're going to be using different tires, you may have to make adjustments depending on those tires. And you just want to tighten that up till it's just snug. And next is your connecting rod or tie rod. You're going to want to put that back where it came from, which is on the inside link area here, exactly where it came out. And again, just tighten this just until it's snug. That's all you got to do, because that'll pivot. And then back on with our tire. And that's how you change your front steering knuckle. Now with your tire, when you're putting it back on, you're going to want to make sure this is on here nice and snug. You won't be able to over tighten this, so just go until it's nice and snug. And it is a nylock nut, so it won't back itself off while driving as long as you got it on there snug. So let's move to the back end of the vehicle now. I'm going to take the rear tire off. Now, all you got to remove on here is this bottom link. So you can start with that if you want to. And remember the position it's in. In this case, it's in the bottom end. The rear end is adjustable for a lot more than what the front end is. Pull our pin out. And we pull this connecting rod or stabilizer rod out. And that removes, you can also remove your dog bone as well as your upright. And simple putting it back together. Now when you're going to go change an axle out, if you ever need to do that, you just pull that cap off if it didn't already come out with the tire. There's a little pin here that comes out, and then your axle will just slide out. And then of course back in she goes. This pin goes back into the hole to lock the axle in place. Make sure you line up the notches, and you're back in business. So put this all back together. First thing you're going to want to do is get this bottom slip pin in place. And remember, just until it stops. You don't want to over tighten this area. Right about there it stops flush. Now you're going to want to put your dog bone back in, so line it up. And it lines up here. And then of course you got to remember which hole you actually took all this out of. And it was in the one closest to the motor. This is why you change one part at a time, so that you know exactly where you have to put things back together for stock setup. And again, you go until it stops, and then just a little bit of snugness, and that's good. Everything's moving fine. Everything's sitting up good, so we're all good. Now we put our tire back on. Make sure that your nut lines up with the hole insert in the tire. That goes on. Sometimes these nuts can be a bit of a pain, but you can put them into the tool right away and start threading them on. It's pretty easy. And again, snug it up. All good to go. I'm actually going to check these ones because this car hasn't even been driven yet. See, that one needed to be snug. That was factory setup. That one's good and snug, so we're okay there. Good, good. And give your screws a good look over. Make sure they're all looking snug the way they should. You don't want any screws falling out when you're driving. Everything looks good. So that's it. That's how you change your steering knuckles and your rear uprights on your Litehawk Blast, your Litehawk Brute, your WL Toys L959, L969, and of course the L202 will also be another one as well that will be done the same way. So any other questions, comments, feel free to leave them, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. Until then, we'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.